Namaste, friends. You know how often we say, I stand with Palestine, I stand with Israel. You know how many times? We talk about tragedies and disasters around the world, and we should. But right now, an entire Indian state is drowning. Punjab, the breadbasket of our country, is underwater. Isn't just politics, this is about people, homes, and livelihoods there. Friends, it is time we look up from our timelines, unite as a nation, and stand with Punjab. Let's listen, share, and act as soon as possible, as quickly as possible. Punjab faces terrible floods. 1,000 plus villages submerged. Big shock for debt-ridden state. Today we are talking about a disaster hitting one of India's most important agricultural states, Punjab, long called the country's wheat basket. For the first time in 4 decades, Punjab is facing floods of this scale. The state has declared an emergency. All 23 districts have been affected. All. Water has entered towns and villages, and hundreds of thousands of people are displaced. What's happening? Scenes are horrifying. Cattle swept away. Viral footage of drowned cows and buffaloes, even wild animals, and a leopard carcass floating in floodwaters. These are horrifying images from Punjab. Farmlands look like rivers. Punjab's 5 major rivers are overflowing and breaching their banks. Many lives lost and huge damage is happening. The central government has also moved into emergency mode. The numbers. Till now, 1,018 villages submerged, 1,400 villages identified as flood affected, 20,000 people rescued from dangerous locations and small river islands. Over 3 lakh or 300,000 hectares of agricultural land damaged. Rainfall for August averaged 253.7 millimeters across Punjab. Normally, it would be around 146 millimeters. That is roughly 74% more than normal rainfall. In some places, it is far worse. Pathankot, 944 millimeters. It is 152% above the normal. Gurudaspur, 577 millimeters. It is 181% above normal. Hoshiarpur, 360 millimeters, 74% above normal. Amritsar, 226 millimeters. It is 40% above normal. Firozpur, 170 millimeters. It is 129% more than normal rainfall. Fazilka, 146 millimeter. It is 115% above normal. Tantharan, 208 millimeters. It is 139% above normal. And casualties reported so far, until now it is 30 deaths with so many missing people. Worst hit districts, it is Barnala, Hoshiarpur, Ludhiana, Manza, Rupnanagar, Bathinda, Gurudaspur, Patiala, Mohali and Sangrur. Rescue and relief operations. NDRF, SDRF, Army, BSF, NGOs and volunteers are on the ground. Drones are being used to assess damage and deliver medicines. Multiple teams are on alert. Thousands are being fed and sheltered. 77 relief camps have been set up so far. The central government has promised emergency assistance. PM Narendra Modi called Punjab CM Bhagwant Singh Mann right after returning from the SEO summit. Several state ministers and MLAs have pledged 1 month's salary for relief efforts. And Union Agricultural Minister Shivraj Singh Chauhan is visiting Punjab. Punjab's demand, big money on the table. Punjab's Chief Minister Bhagwant Singh Mann demanded an immediate release of 60,000 crore rupees for relief and recovery. That is roughly 7.2 billion in US dollars. Why did this happen? Here are the short and clear reasons. Extreme rainfall. Heavy downpours in Himalayan ranges sent large volumes of water downstream. And then poor flood control and capacity limits. Many dams are small or old and cannot handle sudden huge inflows like this. And next, unplanned construction. Settlements and buildings have been built dangerously close to riverbanks. Over the last 3 to 4 decades, towns have crept into traditional floodplains. Number 4, climate change. A major driver making extreme rainfall events more frequent and intense. The economic shock, why this matters to India. Punjab is a major agriculture state. This flood threatens livelihoods and national food security as well. Consider this. Punjab supplies around 22% of India's wheat and 10% of India's rice. In 2024-25, India exported $5.8 billion worth of basmati rice. Punjab's share was $2.35 billion in this. Between 2024-25, about 60 lakh metric tons of basmati were exported. That is 6 million tons. 40% of India's basmati rice exports goes out of Punjab. So when Punjab's fields are flooded, it is not just a local loss, it echoes through the national food supply chains and export earnings. And keep in mind that majority of farm laborers in Punjab are not Punjabis. They are poor migrant laborers from Bihar and Uttar Pradesh. Punjab's long-term fragility, debt and livelihood risks. Punjab has already been a debt-ridden state. Growth has slowed and agriculture remains the main employer. A few key points to note here. From the Niti Aayog data 2025, Punjab's public debt is very large, 4.17 lakh crore rupees outstanding. That is 4.17 trillion rupees or roughly $50 billion in US dollars. Surveys show 75% of Punjabi families don't want their children to stay in farming, but there are very few alternative jobs locally. Unemployment, debt and slow growth are hitting hard. Punjab's growth rate is below national average, and now a natural disaster hits a state that depends on agriculture. That raises real concerns about financial distress and even the risk of widespread defaults in rural areas. Not just Punjab, North India in distress. Himachal Pradesh and Uttarakhand are also in a critical state. There were landslides and flash floods. Houses collapsed and 5 people died in areas like Kinnaur, Sirmaur, Mandi and Kangra. Delhi and Haryana are getting heavy rains too. The Yamuna is rising and rescue teams are on standby here as well. What needs to happen? Immediate, fast cash relief, quicker evacuation, medical aid and food supplies to stranded families. Keep using drones and quick response teams. Short-term, assess crop losses, provide compensation or input subsidies to farmers, and set up rehab for livestock and storage losses. And in medium term, rethink riverfront planning, invest in larger modern flood control infrastructure and map floodplains to stop construction in these high-risk zones. And long term, we need to diversify Punjab's economy. We need to create non-farm jobs so rural families aren't totally dependent on seasonal harvest and US, Canada and UK dreams. Friends, this flood is a wake-up call. A state that once seemed robust is now battling a climate-fueled crisis on top of economic fragility. In this hour of need, we stand with Punjab. Whether you can help by sharing verified relief links or donating to trusted NGOs or government or simply by raising your voice, we have to do it right now. Punjab needs our attention more than our arguments. Let's come together as neighbors, as citizens and support the people who feed our nation.